Hello, and welcome to Reporters, the show that brings you some of our best stories from France 24 correspondents around the world. This week, we take you to South Africa and the black townships of Soweto. 15 years into democracy, South Africa's young black elite is prospering, driving luxury cars and shopping in fancy malls. Many blacks who grew up in the townships are now entrepreneurs, lawyers, and executives. The ANC government has created economic opportunities which has enabled a thriving black elite to make it. But they are a minority. More than 40% of the black population still lives in dismal poverty. Many are in slums waiting for proper housing and essential services, or in the shadow of unemployment, crime, and the HIV/AIDS epidemic. Nowhere is this more apparent than in the historic townships of Soweto, where the struggle against apartheid all began. Natacha BUTLER and Nicola Ransom went to South Africa for us. Let's watch a report.
Every day, tens of thousands of people catch this train. They're some of South Africa's poorest. Off to work in Johannesburg, from the huge sprawling townships of Soweto. Ephraim's a security guard in the city. His journey takes 3 hours from home, but like everyone else on the train, he can't afford to live nearer.
The problem is I have to pay a lot of money. It's like when we are renting a flat in Joburg, you see, you will pay a lot of money. So I can't, because I'm earning a little, so I can't. But I would like to.
In Soweto, there were more than 5 million people. Under apartheid, it was home to black workers who serviced the city's white neighborhoods. 15 years after democracy, many still make the same journey. But like Ephraim, they're hoping for a better future.
One day, I feel one day I should get a decent job so that I mustn't travel a long distance to work.
A decent job, home in the city, and of course, a nice car. The goal of millions. It's the South African dream. And when it comes to dreams, Stephen Nale is living one.
Who was it?
He grew up in Soweto and now he owns a BMW dealership, turning over more than $20 million a year.
Okay. Sometimes I even pinch myself because I don't believe it, because it's been a transformation that is true, and one lives his dream. And it's because of the opportunities that people like Nelson Mandela, who sacrificed their families, in fact his whole life he sacrificed for people like myself. And I'm not the only one. I mean, all our clients coming in here, for somebody to afford a BMW, that is just a dream on itself, because these vehicles are not cheap. Hello, Mr. Johnson.
Hi.
How are you?
Well, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Yeah. This is one of my clients, as I was saying earlier on. Mr. Johnson buys a car from us.
Why do you come here?
Oh, I visit this dealership because it's owned by a black owner, and I support black economic empowerment. And all my friends. He's got an emerging company, I've got a black emerging company, and we support each other.
Black companies are booming thanks to the government's policy of black economic empowerment. It helps transfer financial power to the black majority after years of white rule, creating a thriving black middle class. Just like here, 90 staff, nearly all from Soweto. Central Johannesburg. Each weekend, Stephen hits the road, leaving the city far behind to get back to his roots.
We're now arriving in Soweto. This is the entrance of Soweto. Remember, Soweto, it's a combination of small townships. That's why it's called Soweto Southwestern Townships.
Gliding along the highway in his glittering car. Around here, Stephen turns heads. But in Soweto, when someone makes good, everyone is proud.
People want to sort of identify with their neighbors that are successful, and they take pride in terms of here's another guy that we grew up with now owns a BMW dealership, you know? And you kind of like give them hope to say, if he can achieve what he's got, anything is possible for everybody.
For Stephen, it's home sweet home. He still has relatives here in the house where he spent his childhood.
Hello. This is a one-bed bathroom, as you can see, and one bedroom. So it's a small house. Now you understand I can't live here. And here is the dining room and the lounge. And before then, this used to be like our bedroom. It's like coming back to my home. The other one in the suburbs, that's where I live. Here, this is where the spirit is, and this is where everything happens.
A few years ago, people like Stephen had to leave Soweto to find their fortune. There were few opportunities. But now a new generation of entrepreneurs are making a splash, setting up shop closer to home. People like Musa and Amos.
Okay, this is where the kids are playing. We have 5 PlayStation 3s and 5 LCDs.
An old shipping container turned into an entertainment centre. Amos and Musa realised parents couldn't afford these games. They saw a gap in the market. For a few pennies, it keeps children off the streets and gives them a goal.
When they give me money to come here, they know that I'm not going to smoke or doing something wrong. I'm coming here to play games.
The business started with 1 container, but now there are 6, scattered across the township.
It is very important to create opportunities for yourself because you cannot wait for the government to sort of spoon feed you. You know, one has to go out there, look for opportunities and strike.
Everywhere people are grabbing the chance to strike, and slowly it's changing the face of the townships. In the heart of Soweto, Kliptown Market. Nearly 60 years ago, anti-apartheid activists like Nelson Mandela signed the Freedom Charter here, a vision for a free South Africa. It's one of the poorest neighbourhoods today. It's also home to Soweto's first luxury hotel.
Welcome to the Soweto Hotel on Freedom Square. Our little hotel was opened in 2007 and we're 1.5 years old.
Classy surroundings, designer comfort, costing more than $2.5 million. No expense has been spared. An eye on the future, with inspiration firmly in the past.
And we have also a very unique feature. We call this the long walk to freedom. And I think you'll understand why when you have a look down our corridor. We call this our Mandela Deluxe Room.
A bit of comfort, perfect for international tourists and the black middle class. A room like this costs nearly $200 a night. That's nearly a month's pay for many who work here.
We've got a traditional African market, so you can get maize.
Many of the local population may not be able to stay here, but at least the hotel's bringing jobs.
That's what it's all about, this job creation and opportunities, because you also look at yourself as a training ground for the rest of the industry. So you actually can say that a black company has had the ability to train young black people and give them opportunities for their future.
Many here are speeding into the future, but the majority remain stuck on the wrong side of the tracks. Most blacks in the country are poor. Half are unemployed. The wealth divide is cutting across black South Africa.
Here's the railway that divides the 2 worlds of the very same Kliptown for better life for all. On this side, we are having the multi-million Walter Sisulu Square. Then you look at my left-hand side, we are seeing another Kliptown where people are living in squalor, waiting for the promises that happened in 1994.
Broken shacks, children hungry and in rags, young men with nowhere to go. After democracy, the government promised the poor free or subsidised houses, water and electricity, but people here are still waiting. Tendai Sithole was born and bred here. Now he works for an organisation helping the poor, informing people of their rights. It's a chance for them to be heard.
She says that, they can't do anything about the situation because like they are powerless and like they want houses and like they've been using demonstrations, but nothing is happening in reality. Oh, my name is Tendai Tole. I'm coming from Mapeta East.
Eunice is 43, weathered by years of hardship.
You're using a primer stove to cook.
She has no electricity and is forced to cook with paraffin.
They don't want.
One of her worst fears, though, is crime.
There's no future, yeah. The environment is not nice. You see, I'm staying in front of the streets. Always the people is running. Sometimes they rob the people. You can't sleep when you hear people is running and screaming. How did you feel? It's not nice. How the people are staying here. No.
On this side.
Noise, crime, overcrowding. It's the stuff of daily life here.
The families.
This family of 7 have lived here for years, crammed into a makeshift shack.
Don't know what the future is gonna be.
For the kids.
Because we're living on this low budget. Nobody's working. We're living on child support grant of 2 children. These others are not registered yet. Clinic cards is lost. The house was on fire. So we don't know how to get things right.
Don't lose hope, you know, like...
No, I will never lose hope.
Yeah, and I hope...
Believe in God.
That hope is that one day people here can move into one of these. Brand new homes, modern roads, all built by the government, whose aim is to house all the poorest by 2014.
Okay,
Stanley Uvengo works for the local council. He's overseeing this project at Pennyville.
So I think this is really an improvement to people and dignity as well of the people of South Africa to have such an area developed and given away to them as well. If you look at the years of democracy and what has been done by the government in power, I think it's really need to be commended to say there's a lot that have been done.
3 million homes have been built so far, but for those waiting, it's not fast enough, because many people still live without essentials such as water and electricity, so some residents are taking matters into their own hands. Rani and Simon are on a mission. A local family's electricity's been cut because they can't pay the bills, so they're off to reconnect it illegally.
I just teach myself.
You taught yourself?
Yes, here in the organization, because I can see if we got no one to help us. So if we call people who are working at ESCOM, they need too much money and we got no money.
Are you ever worried that someone from the electricity company will come and find you doing this?
I'm not afraid of that because I'm helping the poor people.
Rani doing his bit. He's part of the Soweto Concerned Residents Association.
We are the poor of the poor, but we are busy going and vote for the rich. Tina Sibesi poor on the ground. Viva Soweto Concerned Congress!
A rallying cry to the hundreds that pack this hall each week. A little joy in tough times. The meeting's a chance for residents to discuss problems in Soweto and draw up battle plans for solving them. Grassroots activists determined to be heard by their local council.
People on the ground are not enjoying any good life. They are struggling there, and poverty is playing tricks with people. People are hungry on the ground. They don't have decent houses. They don't have decent facilities.
For decades, they fought the evils of apartheid. Today, the enemy for many is poverty. But things are changing. Soweto's children are becoming tomorrow's dream makers. As the sun sets on the past, the nature of South Africa's next dawn will rest firmly on their shoulders.
Well, we're lucky enough that one of the reporters behind this fascinating story is here with us. Hello, Natacha, and thank you. Well, tell us, racial segregation was abolished in South Africa almost 20 years ago. It is now a full-fledged democracy. So why do you think there is still so much poverty, and what can be done, especially in the context of this month's election?
Well, let's look in the context of the elections, because the poor feel very cynical about the elections and about politicians. They think, what's the use of democracy if we don't have food on the table, if we don't have a job? And they blame the government. Now, who's been in power for the past 15 years? It has, of course, been the ANC party. Despite all these problems, though, the ANC get most of their support, I should say, from the black urban poor. So there is a real contradiction here. The ANC has enormous loyalty. Why? Because they're the party that fought apartheid all those years, the party of Nelson Mandela. And they've done some good things. They're building houses. They've built some 3 million to date. They continue to build them. They continue to provide some services, even if not enough. And they've presided over many years of economic growth, even if that was jobless growth. But the tide is turning. I think many people we spoke to on the ground feel that not enough is being done. And now it's time, perhaps, to look away from the ANC to some other parties. Now, at the end of that report, we saw a residents' association. They say they're not going to vote. They're going to scrap their ballot papers. They want to send out a message that they'll remain loyal to the ANC, but only if their life changes.
So there is hope.
There is hope. There's always hope.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Natacha. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. Well, you can watch us again next week for another edition of Reporters. In the meantime, be well.